Okay, this is lesson 5.1b. Why do we have local government? We'll do some multiple choice practice. There's a diagram for us to fill in, some paired reading, and then a flow chart for creating a bylaw. So here are two multiple choice questions for you to practice. So at the top we have two, sorry, use a pointer. At the top there are two tables. These are bar graphs. First one says revenue for the county of Lethbridge from 0 to 8 million, user fees and sale of goods, funds from other levels of governments, property taxes, rental of equipment, all others. The other says expenditures for Camrose County, again 0 to 8 million, roads, agricultural services, parks and recreation, protective services, administration, water and waste management, and all others. Question 1, approximately how much revenue does the county of Lethbridge collect in property taxes? A, 16 million, B, 8 million, C, 6 million, or D, 3 million? You might want to pause here and answer your question. Question 2, what is the largest expenditure for the government of Camrose County? A, roads, B, agricultural services, C, administration, D, all others. So pause the video and decide what your answer is. Oh, just doing that so that you know to come back. So the first question, the country of Lethbridge collects in property taxes. This is Lethbridge. This is property taxes, county, not country. They collect about 8 million in property taxes. So the correct answer is B. For number 2, what is the largest expenditure for the government of Camrose County? So for Camrose County's expenditures, their largest expenditure by far was roads. So A is your correct answer for number 2. Okay. This is the municipal areas of Alberta, and this is actually an assignment. So you can print this slide out, or you can just do this right on your screen. In one color, shade in the municipality where you live and label it. In another color, shade in a different municipality area that you know something about. You have visited it, you have a relative or friend there, etc. Finally, in the space on the right, create a legend that explains the colors and municipal areas. Be sure to give your legend a name. Here is my exemplar. You can see that I have colored in Calgary yellow. That's my municipal area. I've also colored in Edmonton. I've been there many a times, and I lived there when I was younger. I colored in Lethbridge. That's where I was born. As well as Lloydminster, where I went to coach a lacrosse practice. Okay, so that's your map activity. If you need a little bit more information on what area is which, this next slide actually has the name of every municipality. So if you're not sure which one is which, you can go to that slide. So your task is to pause the video now and complete that task. Welcome back. Finally, we're going to do some paired reading of pages 104 to 105, and then we're going to discuss the thinking it through questions. So if you are able to do paired reading, I still want you to. So if you're on FaceTime or you have a sibling or a parent that you can work with, I still want you to do paired reading. So if so, get in a pair and read together. You can take turns reading, you can have one reader and one note taker. Any paired reading strategy is great, and then you'll discuss the thinking it through questions. So if you have a partner, pause the video and do that now. If you do not, then you can listen and read along. Local government makes laws. How do you know where it is legal to snowmobile in your community? How do you know whether your dog is allowed off leash in a park? The local government makes rules called bylaws. Bylaws are rules that specify people's behavior. These rules keep people safe and help the community run smoothly. You can see there's two different pictures of different bylaws. Why do you think each of these bylaws were passed? Bylaws can only be enforced in the area where they have been passed. In other words, every community has its own bylaws. People are responsible for knowing and obeying the bylaws. If they do not, justice usually requires that they pay a fine. This article describes what happened in a rural community when a landlord refused to obey a bylaw. Rocky View takes over noxious weed-infested land. For the first time ever, the municipal district of Rocky View will take over a large parcel of agricultural land that has become infested with noxious or harmful weeds and will start a weed control plan. The owner of the land received several notices from Rocky View asking her to treat the weeds, but she failed to do so. Weed control will start immediately and the owner will be billed for it. Rocky View spends approximately $250,000 every year on programs to fight weeds. Year-round educational meetings, workshops, and tours are held to educate the public on the problems caused by noxious weeds. Thinking it through. Do you think it was fair for the Rocky View Council to take this action? Explain your thinking. New bylaws or changes to bylaws are usually introduced by a councillor at a council meeting. The councillor makes a motion that the bylaws be passed. As you saw in the opening story, a person or group from the community can make a presentation at a committee or council meeting about a bylaw. A motion to make or change a bylaw has to be considered 3 times before it is voted on by members of the council. This gives people who oppose the motion 3 chances to speak out and argue against it. Supporters of the motion can answer these criticisms. Then, the motion is put to a vote. If the majority of the councillors vote in favor, it will be passed and become a bylaw. So again, a motion is an idea or proposal discussed and voted on at a meeting. So if you were trying to pass a new bylaw for our class, and you had the idea that we should have 1 extra recess between the morning recess and lunch, and you said, Mr. Locking, I have an idea, that would be a motion. I have a motion to suggest more recess, for example. So, some local governments have discussed creating a bylaw requiring helmets for tobogganings. How might such a law be enforced? Do we have a bylaw requiring helmets in Calgary? Local government gives people a voice. Would it be possible for federal or provincial governments to provide local services, collect the taxes to pay for them, and make laws? The answer is yes. So why then have we chosen to have a local level of government in Canada? We believe that people who live in a community are best able to understand the issues that affect their daily lives. The representatives that people elect to local government are in the best position to make decisions that are in the interest of the community. Local government is an important expression of our belief that democracy is the way we want to run our country. Local government provides us with many opportunities to participate. These include running for office, voting, taking part in town hall meetings, and making presentations to government. Thinking it through. Why is allowing members of the public to attend most local government committee and council meetings important in a democracy? Is passing a bylaw an example of decision-making by consensus or compromise? Explain. Okay, here's your assignment for today. It is to recreate this flowchart in your notes. So this flowchart shows us how to pass a bylaw. First, a bylaw motion is introduced at community or a council meeting. Now, this bylaw might come from the councillor themselves, or maybe a community member has made a presentation. Then, the councillor makes a motion to pass the bylaw. The council considers the motion for the first time. When it's being considered, council members and councillors who oppose the motion can argue against it, and community members and councillors who support the motion can argue for it. This happens 3 times. 1, 2, 3. At each time, people can argue for or against it. Then, members of council actually vote on the motion, and it either fails or passes and becomes a bylaw. Now, I'm getting you to recreate this flowchart because it's actually a really important process. We usually go to city city hall, city council, and we sit in on a council meeting, and this is how they decide what the laws are, right? You have to wear your helmet on your bike. That's because that idea was put forth in a motion, and then 3 times people argued the safety versus whatever argument you have for not wearing a helmet, and then they decided that that's a bylaw. So if you want things to change, you should know that this is the process that we follow. So please recreate this flowchart. I don't need you to write every single word, and I don't need you to make it look the same. I need you to take this information and recreate it in a way that makes sense to you, but still communicates this process. That is all. Thanks for listening. As always, please let me know what worked, what didn't work, and be curious, be kind, be well.